Earth was suddenly shaken by the most unexpected sight in human history. Deep space observatories detected a massive alien fleet entering the solar system, a fleet so large and technologically advanced that scientists could barely comprehend it. Alarms blared across military bases and research stations as leaders struggled to understand what was happening. The ships were enormous, glimmering with strange lights and patterns that defied human physics, moving with a speed and precision no human vessel had ever achieved. Scientists rushed to their instruments, shouting calculations and measurements, their voices trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. Military commanders activated emergency protocols, mobilizing fleets and defense satellites, but uncertainty hung heavy in the air. Humans had never faced a threat like this. Panic swept through cities around the world as news broke that something from beyond their planet had entered the solar system. People ran through streets, crowded into public places, praying, screaming, or simply staring at the sky in disbelief. Governments held emergency meetings, trying to assess the alien threat and formulate a response. Some feared an immediate invasion, others believed the aliens might simply be passing through, yet everyone knew that any interaction with these beings could change the course of human history forever. Amid the chaos, a small group of humans remained calm. They gathered in a hidden command center, far from the panic of surface cities, studying the alien fleet with careful attention. Unlike the rest of humanity, they did not react with fear. Instead, they observed patterns in the alien ships, noting movement, formation, and energy signatures. They were analysts, scientists, and strategists who believed that understanding the enemy was more important than running from it. Every flicker of light and every shift in the fleet's trajectory was recorded and examined. They knew that human survival depended on knowledge, on predicting the aliens' next move, and on finding weaknesses in their technology. Suspense built as they worked. The world outside assumed that humans were helpless, but inside this command center, hope burned quietly. Outside the planet, the alien ships spread across the solar system, encircling planets, monitoring communication signals, and scanning for signs of life. Their size alone was intimidating, with massive warships towering over moons and asteroid belts. Observers in orbit noticed strange energy waves and fields that interfered with human sensors, making it hard to track the alien movements. Satellites struggled to maintain communication as unknown frequencies disrupted transmissions. Humanity had never seen anything like this before, and fear grew with every passing hour. Yet, the small group in the command center noticed something the rest of the world had overlooked. The aliens were fast and advanced, yes, but their patterns revealed moments of hesitation, areas where their shields flickered, gaps in formation that could be studied and eventually exploited. Humans had hidden strengths, abilities that the galaxy had never seen. The analysts worked feverishly, creating models and simulations, testing scenarios, and predicting possible outcomes. Each simulation added to their confidence, even as the public below panicked. They understood that fear alone would not save humanity. Intelligence, teamwork, and calm observation could turn the tide. Suspense grew not just from the alien threat, but from the question of whether anyone on Earth would have the courage and clarity to act when the world seemed helpless. Citizens watched the sky, seeing the alien ships shimmering against the black of space, wondering what they wanted, fearing what they might do. Governments debated whether to attempt contact, to prepare weapons, or to hide. Every decision was made under pressure, with the knowledge that a single mistake could bring total destruction. Meanwhile, the calm humans in the command center continued their silent work, piecing together data that could hold the key to survival. They coordinated with scattered military units, sharing insights about alien energy emissions, potential weak spots, and strange technological patterns. Slowly, a plan began to form, a strategy that relied on intelligence, human adaptability, and courage rather than brute force. Tension in the world increased as more ships arrived, encircling the inner planets and probing for signs of resistance. Scientists reported strange phenomena, alien energy pulses that interfered with human instruments, and unexplained gravitational anomalies caused by the fleet's movements. Panic outside the command centers escalated, while those inside felt an unusual calm, a quiet determination to face the unknown. Suspense built for the audience in the story as humans prepared for the impossible. Would their small group of thinkers and observers be able to guide humanity against a vastly superior alien force? Could a planet that had never faced interstellar war survive the arrival of beings who had conquered countless worlds? Questions loomed large, and the tension stretched across Earth. Families huddled in their homes, watching news screens, unsure of what the future held. Military ships readied for action, though their weapons seemed primitive compared to the alien technology. Scientists monitored energy waves, searching for any clue, any pattern that could hint at a weakness. The calm humans knew that everything depended on speed, intelligence, and understanding. Panic could destroy their chances, insight could give them hope. And as the massive fleet loomed closer, Earth's fate seemed uncertain, balanced between despair and the potential for a surprising rise. The story began with fear, awe, and suspense, leaving the audience wondering how humanity, so small and unprepared, could possibly face an enemy from beyond the stars. Yet within that tension was the hint of something extraordinary, hidden strengths, bravery, and intelligence that no one expected, waiting for the right moment to reveal that Earth might not only survive, but one day become a force the galaxy would fear. After hours of watching the alien fleet, the small group of human strategists and scientists realized they could not simply wait and observe any longer. They had to act. The alien ships were too large and too powerful to face directly, but a chance appeared in the form of a lone scout ship that had separated slightly from the main fleet. The humans quickly analyzed its movements, energy signatures, and vulnerabilities. Military commanders coordinated with engineers and scientists to devise a risky plan. A small team of human pilots in modified ships would strike the scout ship, using speed, unpredictability, and clever tactics instead of brute force. The world below continued to panic as news of the alien fleet spread. Citizens barricaded themselves in homes, while governments scrambled to issue emergency orders. Television channels broadcast warnings, showing simulations of destruction and chaos, which only increased fear. However, inside the command center, the small group of humans worked calmly, calculating every angle, every possibility. Suspense grew because no one knew if the plan would work, the alien technology was unknown, and even a single mistake could mean the destruction of the human ships and the loss of hope for Earth. As the pilots prepared to launch, they felt nervous but determined, knowing the survival of their planet might depend on their success. Each pilot checked their instruments, double-checked their coordinates, and took a deep breath before entering the launch pods. Outside, the alien scout ship moved with mechanical precision, unaware that humans had discovered its weak points. It seemed confident, almost arrogant, as if it assumed no primitive species could threaten it. The tension was unbearable, every second counted. The human team executed the plan with careful timing. Using small, fast ships, they approached from angles the alien ship did not expect, dodging energy fields and monitoring shield fluctuations. Suspense built as the alien scout noticed something unusual and adjusted its position, sending out pulses to detect the intruders. For a moment, it seemed the humans would be discovered and destroyed instantly. Then, using precise calculations and quick reflexes, one of the pilots fired a series of experimental missiles designed to exploit the shield gaps the analysts had observed. The missiles struck perfectly, and the alien scout ship faltered, its energy shields flickering violently before it was finally disabled. The humans watched in awe and relief as the massive ship spun out of control, unable to continue its mission. For a brief moment, a cheer erupted in the command center. Though the mood remained tense, the main alien fleet was still out there, and this victory was only a small step. Outside, the world began to hear the news, and disbelief spread. Humans, an unprepared planet, had just struck a blow against a superior alien force. Citizens stared at their screens in amazement, some laughing nervously, some crying tears of hope. Governments were stunned. The impossible had happened. The suspense grew even more because the humans did not know what the alien fleet's reaction would be. The disabled scout ship was a signal, a warning, and possibly a trap. Scientists warned that the aliens could retaliate at any moment, and everyone had to remain alert. Meanwhile, inside the command center, humans continued analyzing the alien technology, learning from the encounter. Every detail of the scout ship's design, every energy pulse, every movement pattern was recorded and studied to improve Earth's defenses. They realized that while humans were weaker in firepower, their intelligence, adaptability, and courage made them dangerous opponents. Suspense built as the main fleet adjusted its formation, sending signals that humans could not fully interpret. Would they attack immediately? Would they retreat? Or was this part of a more complex plan? The pilots who returned from the mission were exhausted but exhilarated, knowing they had done something no one expected. Their success inspired scientists, engineers, and military leaders to think bigger, to plan for even riskier missions that could further challenge the aliens. Around the globe, the news of the first human victory spread, slowly replacing fear with cautious hope. People began to realize that humanity might have a chance, that cleverness and bravery could turn the tide even against a vastly superior enemy. Suspense remained because the alien fleet was still present, its motives unknown, its technology far beyond human comprehension. But for the first time, Earth had proven it could fight back, that humans could adapt, plan, and win small battles against a force they had once thought unstoppable. The command center buzzed with activity, analysts and pilots working together to predict the alien response and plan the next move. The tension was high, yet the atmosphere was filled with determination and quiet pride. Humanity had taken its first step from unknown to unstoppable, and the audience could feel the suspense and excitement, knowing that more challenges, more battles, and more surprises awaited in the journey to becoming the most feared force in the galaxy. Every person in the command center, every citizen following the news, and every pilot who had risked their life understood that this was just the beginning. The world had seen that humans were not weak, not helpless, and not predictable. Suspense lingered because the alien empire had not yet revealed its full power, and no one knew what would happen next. But one truth was clear: Earth had made its mark, and the galaxy had begun to notice a new force rising from the small blue planet, a force that was intelligent, courageous, and ready to fight back. After the first shocking victory against the alien scout, humanity began to realize that the galaxy might not be as invincible as it seemed, yet the danger was far from over. A small group of key humans, pilots, scientists, and military leaders emerged as unlikely heroes. They were ordinary people with extraordinary courage, intelligence, and determination. Among them was Captain Lena Ortiz, a skilled pilot with nerves of steel, Dr. Amir Khan, a brilliant strategist who could calculate probabilities in seconds, and Commander Hiro Tanaka, a former soldier turned tactical genius. Together, they formed a team tasked with one of the most dangerous missions yet: infiltrate the alien mothership and gather intelligence about the fleet's main operations. The suspense was unbearable because the humans had no idea what awaited them inside the alien ship. It was enormous, dark, and filled with technology that defied human understanding. Every system hummed with energy, lights flickered in patterns no one could decipher, and strange shapes moved through the corridors, sending chills down the spines of the human team. As they approached the mothership, tension grew. The alien fleet was vigilant, scanning space with unknown sensors that could detect even the smallest human craft. One wrong move could mean instant death, not just for the team, but for the planet below if the aliens realized humans were inside. The pilots steadied their nerves, taking deep breaths, checking equipment, and running through mental simulations of the mission. Every detail had been planned, but improvisation would be critical. The aliens were unpredictable, and any failure could be catastrophic. Suspense built as the human craft entered the mothership's defense perimeter, dodging energy beams and narrowly avoiding detection. Inside the alien ship, the corridors were vast, metallic, and alien, with walls that pulsed with light and strange symbols that seemed to move when viewed from different angles. The humans advanced cautiously, their eyes scanning every shadow, every corner, every movement. The sense of danger was constant. One wrong step could trigger alarms or worse. Despite the fear, the team worked seamlessly together. Lena piloted their small craft through tight spaces, Amir calculated timing and risk for each maneuver, and Hiro coordinated communications and contingencies. Their courage inspired each other, and their determination was stronger than any fear. The suspense heightened when they encountered the first alien sentries. These beings were unlike anything humans had imagined: tall, sleek, and armed with weapons that glowed with energy. The humans hid in shadows, observing their behavior, learning their patrol patterns, and waiting for the perfect moment to move. Every second was tense, every heartbeat amplified. The team realized that brute force would not work. They had to rely on intelligence, stealth, and courage. Slowly, they advanced deeper into the ship, collecting data on the alien fleet, their energy systems, and their communication networks. Each piece of information was crucial to humanity's survival. The suspense built further when they stumbled upon a control room, a central hub where the alien leaders seemed to be directing fleet operations. The humans observed in awe and fear, understanding that this room held the secrets that could determine the outcome of the entire conflict. Lena whispered, "This is it. This is what we came for." Amir nodded, hands flying over his portable console as he hacked into alien systems, extracting vital information without triggering alarms. The tension was unbearable. The slightest mistake could alert the aliens, and then escape might be impossible. Suspense grew as the team moved with precision, dodging patrols and avoiding detection, each moment a test of courage and skill. Outside, the alien fleet continued its patrols, unaware that humans had penetrated so deeply into their mothership. On Earth, military leaders and scientists waited anxiously for any sign that the mission had succeeded or failed. Every second without communication increased fear, but also hope. If the team returned with intelligence, humanity could plan a proper strategy to defend their planet. The human team's bravery, intelligence, and coordination were extraordinary, and the audience could feel the suspense in every movement, every decision, and every calculation. After what seemed like hours, the team successfully extracted the information needed, documenting the fleet's formation, energy sources, and potential weaknesses. Yet the most suspenseful moment was still ahead: the escape. The aliens discovered minor discrepancies in their systems, sending patrols to investigate. The humans had to rely on their skill, quick thinking, and trust in each other to avoid detection. With every passing second, the tension increased, the risk of failure mounting. Finally, using calculated timing, stealth maneuvers, and a bit of luck, the human team escaped the mothership, returning to their craft and launching back toward Earth. They had accomplished the impossible: a direct incursion into the heart of the alien fleet and a safe return with critical intelligence. Suspense shifted to awe and excitement as the team landed, sharing the data with scientists and military commanders, who immediately began analyzing it to plan Earth's next moves. The world began to understand that these ordinary humans had extraordinary courage, intelligence, and adaptability. From unknown individuals to heroes capable of facing the most advanced alien technology, they were shaping the story of humanity's rise. The suspense lingered because the alien fleet was still vast, powerful, and largely unknown. The audience was left with questions. Could humans use this new information to strike a decisive blow? What other dangers awaited in the alien empire? And how far could these ordinary yet extraordinary humans push the limits of courage, intelligence, and strategy to make Earth not just survive, but become unstoppable? Each moment of suspense, bravery, and clever thinking kept the story gripping, showing that human ingenuity and heart could rival even the most advanced forces in the galaxy. The calm of Earth's victory did not last long because the alien fleet had detected minor disturbances, and now it was preparing its counterattack. The massive ships shifted formation, casting enormous shadows across the inner planets, sending pulses of energy that interfered with communication satellites and power grids. On Earth, the people watched in horror as news of the alien fleet's retaliation spread. Governments activated emergency protocols, and civilians were urged to take cover, but panic was already spreading across cities, towns, and rural areas. Inside the command centers, scientists and military strategists worked feverishly, studying the intelligence brought back from the mothership mission. They realized that the aliens were far more advanced than humans, with weapons capable of destroying entire cities in minutes. Suspense grew as the world waited to see if humanity could survive the impending assault. The human fleet prepared as well, though their ships were far smaller and less equipped than the alien war machines. Captain Lena Ortiz, Commander Hiro Tanaka, and Dr. Amir Khan led the forces, devising plans to use every advantage they had: speed, maneuverability, and intelligence. The stakes were higher than ever, and tension filled the air. As the first wave of alien ships approached, the humans launched their defensive formations, dodging energy beams, missiles, and unknown weapons that left trails of light across space. The battle was chaotic and terrifying. Explosions rocked ships, alarms blared, and human pilots risked everything to protect their home. Suspense was at its peak because the aliens seemed unstoppable, their ships larger, faster, and equipped with technology beyond human understanding. Yet the humans adapted, using clever tactics and unexpected maneuvers to confuse and outsmart the invaders. Lena led a daring strike, diving into a cluster of alien ships to draw their attention while other human ships targeted weak points discovered from the mothership intelligence. The aliens reacted, changing formation and sending more ships to intercept, creating a dangerous cat-and-mouse chase in space. Every second felt like an eternity, and the audience could feel the suspense of life or death hanging over every move. Back on Earth, civilians watched the night sky lit with streaks of light from distant battles, hearts pounding as they wondered if their planet would survive. The humans' determination, courage, and teamwork were tested to the extreme. They used decoys, electronic interference, and daring maneuvers to avoid the aliens' advanced weapons while striking at their shields, slowly chipping away at the enemy's formation. Suspense built further as casualties mounted, human ships were destroyed, and some pilots did not return. Each loss reminded the survivors of the stakes, yet it also strengthened their resolve. Every move, every strategy, and every brave act was part of a larger plan to defend their planet and prove that humanity could rise from being unknown to unstoppable. As the battle raged, scientists on Earth discovered that the alien fleet had vulnerabilities in its energy network. They relayed the information to the pilots, who adjusted their tactics, concentrating attacks on these weak points. Slowly, the tide began to shift. The aliens, once confident of easy victory, now faced unexpected resistance. Their confusion and surprise were evident, giving humans a slight advantage that could turn the battle. Suspense grew with every moment. Would humans succeed, or would their planet finally fall to a far superior force? The human leaders inspired their crews, reminding them of what was at stake: survival, freedom, and the chance to show the galaxy that Earth could not be ignored. Amid explosions, evasive maneuvers, and energy blasts, the pilots began executing risky plans that combined speed, intelligence, and unpredictability. Each successful strike against the aliens was celebrated silently, knowing the battle was far from over. Slowly, the human strategy began to pay off, and the alien fleet started to retreat from some areas, realizing that the planet was far more dangerous than they had assumed. The suspense remained, as the humans knew that this was only the beginning. The aliens would regroup and strike again, but Earth had survived the first massive counterattack. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and adaptability could overcome technological superiority, and the galaxy began to take notice. On the command bridge, Lena, Hero, and Amir shared a quiet moment, knowing that humanity had faced its toughest challenge yet and survived. They were battered, exhausted, but inspired, ready to lead the next phase of Earth's rise. The suspense lingered, keeping the audience on edge. Could humans continue to hold their ground? Would they strike back and begin their journey from survivors to the most feared force in the galaxy? Each human, from pilots to scientists to ordinary citizens, realized that the fight was far from over, but that their courage, intelligence, and teamwork had changed the rules of engagement forever. The night sky, once calm and peaceful, now held the evidence of humanity's determination, a growing legend that Earth would no longer be considered weak or unknown. The story kept the audience hooked with tension, suspense, and the promise that the next battles would define the rise of a new unstoppable force in the galaxy. After surviving the massive alien counterattack, humanity knew that they could not remain on the defensive forever. The time had come to strike back, to show the galaxy that Earth was no longer weak or unknown. The human leaders gathered in the command center, surrounded by data streams, holographic maps of the alien fleet, and simulations of possible strategies. Captain Lena Ortiz, Commander Hiro Tanaka, and Dr. Amir Khan discussed every possible approach, knowing that a single mistake could destroy Earth. Suspense filled the room as they finalized a plan that was bold, risky, and unlike anything humanity had attempted before. Their target was the alien fleet's central command vessel, the ship that coordinated attacks and controlled the rest of the forces. If humans could disable or destroy it, the alien empire would be thrown into chaos, giving Earth a decisive advantage. The plan required splitting the human fleet into multiple groups, each performing dangerous maneuvers to confuse the alien sensors. One team would act as decoys, drawing the aliens' attention, while another would infiltrate the command vessel to deliver a critical strike. Every pilot and crew member understood that their actions could determine the survival of the entire planet, and the suspense was unbearable because the alien fleet was vast, heavily armed, and unpredictable. As the mission began, human ships moved into position, weaving through asteroid fields and energy barriers, hiding from alien detection. Captain Lena led the first strike group, her ship cutting through space with incredible speed, drawing the attention of the alien defenses. Energy beams and missiles flew past, narrowly missing her vessel, and her heart raced as she maneuvered with precision, inspiring the rest of the fleet to follow her example. The decoy strategy worked, pulling several alien warships away from the central command vessel, creating the opening humanity desperately needed. Commander Hiro Tanaka coordinated with the infiltration team, guiding them through uncharted corridors of space, warning them of energy fields and patrol patterns that could detect them. Suspense built with every second, as even the smallest error could trigger alarms that would end the mission and doom Earth. The infiltration team, led by Dr. Amir Khan and a squad of elite pilots, approached the central command vessel cautiously. Using data collected from the mothership mission, they found weak points in the alien shields and communication networks. They had only one chance to execute their plan, and failure was not an option. Inside the vessel, alien sentries moved in precise patterns, their weapons glowing and scanning for intruders. The humans used stealth, clever distraction tactics, and their deep understanding of alien technology to avoid detection. Each movement was calculated, every step a risk, creating intense suspense as the audience wondered if they would succeed. Finally, the team reached the core of the command vessel, where the energy source and control systems pulsed with unimaginable power. Dr. Amir set explosives and electronic disruptors with hands that did not tremble, focusing on the task at hand. Seconds felt like hours, and suspense reached its peak as alarms nearly sounded from minor errors. At the last moment, the explosives were set, and the team retreated, escaping through narrow corridors and energy fields. Outside, the human fleet watched as the central command vessel's shields flickered, sparks flew, and the massive ship began to collapse in a controlled explosion. The aliens panicked, unsure of what had happened, their coordination lost, and many ships retreated in disarray. On Earth, citizens watched the news in disbelief. Humanity had just struck a decisive blow against the most advanced force in the galaxy. Cities erupted in celebration, but the suspense lingered because the alien fleet still existed, and the war was not over. Pilots returned from the mission exhausted but exhilarated, knowing they had changed the balance of power. Commanders and scientists analyzed the data, preparing for the next phase of humanity's rise. Every loss had been painful, but every victory had strengthened their resolve. Humanity had proven that courage, intelligence, teamwork, and careful planning could overcome even the most overwhelming enemy. Suspense continued as everyone wondered how the aliens would respond, whether they would strike back, and how far humans could push their advantage. The night sky, once filled with fear, now shimmered with hope, as streaks of light marked the daring maneuvers of the human fleet. Every citizen, pilot, scientist, and soldier understood that this was a turning point, a moment where Earth had begun its journey from unknown to unstoppable. The aliens had underestimated humans, believing them to be weak, slow, and easily defeated. Now, they were learning that human ingenuity, bravery, and unpredictability were forces to be reckoned with. The suspense for the audience remained high, because while the first decisive victory had been won, the galaxy was vast, and humanity's future was still uncertain. Yet the lesson was clear: Earth had taken the first steps toward becoming the deadliest force in known space, a planet that combined courage, intelligence, and determination in ways no enemy had expected. The human leaders, pilots, and scientists shared a quiet moment of reflection, knowing that the risks had been enormous, the tension unbearable, and the rewards unimaginable. They had changed history in a single mission, proving that ordinary humans could accomplish extraordinary feats. The suspense for the next battles remained, keeping the audience on edge, eager to see how Earth would continue its rise, how humans would adapt, and how far they could go in transforming from a small, unknown planet to an unstoppable galactic force feared by all. The dust from the decisive battle had barely settled, but humanity knew the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Earth's victory against the alien fleet's Central Command vessel had shifted the balance of power, yet the main fleet still lingered in space, wary and cautious. Governments and citizens watched the skies with both awe and anxiety, realizing that humanity was no longer the small, unprepared planet it had once been. Captain Lena Ortiz, Commander Hiro Tanaka, and Dr. Amir Khan convened with the remaining leaders, planning the next steps carefully. Every action now mattered, every decision carried the weight of the planet's survival and future dominance. Suspense hung heavy in the air because the aliens, though weakened and confused, were still formidable. Their ships bristled with unknown weaponry, their patterns were complex, and their intentions were unclear. Humanity had shown courage and intelligence, but could they truly maintain the upper hand against such a powerful force? As humans prepared, scientists analyzed the data collected from the mothership and the Central Command vessel, discovering more about alien technology than anyone had imagined. They realized that the aliens had limits, gaps in communication, and weaknesses in coordination that could be exploited. Pilots trained relentlessly, engineers upgraded ships with new systems, and strategists developed battle plans that combined speed, intelligence, and unpredictability. Suspense grew because the aliens were learning too, adjusting their movements and defenses, making the next engagement a test of human adaptability and creativity. When the aliens launched a final coordinated strike, expecting to crush the human fleet and end the rebellion, they were met with a force more prepared, smarter, and braver than ever. Humans executed perfect coordination, splitting their fleet, drawing the aliens into traps, and striking weak points identified in intelligence reports. Captain Lena led daring maneuvers that seemed impossible, dodging energy beams and guiding her team through impossible gaps, while Commander Hiro calculated each strike in real time. Dr. Amir and the scientists monitored alien energy patterns, providing critical data that allowed human ships to attack at exactly the right moment. The suspense was unbearable, as each action could mean victory or annihilation. Explosions lit up space, beams of energy streaked across the void, and alien ships faltered under precise attacks. Slowly, the tide turned. The aliens, confident and arrogant, now faced an enemy they could not predict, one that combined intelligence, courage, and relentless determination. Their fleet was thrown into confusion, and ships that had seemed invincible began to fall. On Earth, people watched the battle unfold on screens, eyes wide with disbelief and excitement. Humans had transformed from unknown newcomers into a force that could challenge the galaxy's most feared warriors. Suspense remained, because the alien empire was vast, and no one could be sure that victory was complete. Yet with every successful maneuver, humans grew bolder. Ordinary citizens, soldiers, and pilots became legends in a matter of days, their actions inspiring courage and confidence across the planet. Humanity had learned that their true power lay not just in weapons or ships, but in intelligence, creativity, teamwork, and fearlessness. The final phase of the battle saw humans disable the remaining alien command systems, cutting communications and coordination, and forcing the fleet to retreat. Suspense was at its peak as the aliens disappeared into the dark of space, leaving humans victorious but cautious, aware that the galaxy was watching. Earth had emerged as a force that no enemy would underestimate again. Celebrations erupted on the planet, but leaders reminded everyone that vigilance was necessary. Humanity had taken its first steps from survival to dominance, proving that even a small planet could rise to power through courage, intelligence, and determination. Suspense lingered for the future, as the galaxy had witnessed the birth of a new force, one that would be feared, respected, and challenged in ways no one could predict. Captain Lena, Commander Hiro, and Dr. Amir looked at the stars, knowing that humanity's journey was far from over. They had survived, adapted, and triumphed, and the galaxy had taken note. Ordinary humans had become heroes, Earth's unknown potential was now unstoppable, and suspense remained for the next adventures, next battles, and next discoveries that awaited them in the vastness of space. Humanity had transformed completely, no longer the timid species of a small blue planet, but a smart, brave, and unstoppable power whose reputation would echo across the stars. The story ended with hope, pride, and lingering suspense for what humans might do next, leaving the audience inspired, awed, and eager to imagine the limitless future of an unstoppable Earth.